If you're an internationally educated nurse about to pay hundreds of dollars to create an NNAS account, I'm going to need you to stop and listen, because you may be making the most expensive and biggest mistake of your entire Canadian nursing journey. Today, I'm going to be explaining to you why your province matters and how you can avoid paying for the wrong assessment. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth. I am a registered nurse and I help internationally educated nurses successfully navigate their journey to nursing here in Canada. One of the biggest mistakes that I see internationally educated nurses make is not after they have arrived in Canada. It is before they hit submit on their very first application. That's because somebody says, create an NNAS profile. You go ahead and you create an NNAS profile. No questions asked, no research made, just because the person said it and that's what worked for them. But that's not the problem. The problem is not, should I create an NNAS profile? The problem is, what province am I going to? That should be the biggest piece of puzzle you should try to fix first. Because understanding that will save you time, money, emotional stress, and it will help, and completely impact your registration pathway. When I started, the process was overwhelming. Information was everywhere. Every website had everything different to say. And God help you if you don't leave more confused than you initially started. I know many people can relate to that part of the statement, because there was hardly any information. And that's why this is important to me, not to add to the noise, but to help you make better informed decisions using official information. And so today in this video, I'm going to try as much as possible to break down for you what WES is, what NNAS actually does, how your province impacts the entire process, and how you can avoid paying for the wrong assessment. Let's start with WES. WES is World Education Services, and their role is to evaluate your education, compare it to the Canadian educational standard, see if it meets. And that's why a lot of times you meet people who have either created an express entry profile or about to create an express entry profile talk about the term WES. Now, that's where the confusion starts, because traditionally, having a WES assessment was strictly for immigration, but things are beginning to change. And then just having that assessment was still not enough, especially for nurses. For nurses, you still have to face a lengthier process assessing your nursing education. That's where NNAS came in. NNAS is National Nursing Assessment Service, and for a very long time, for every internationally educated nurse that wanted to work in Canada, that had to be the first stop. But things are changing, times are moving, people are beginning to be a lot more flexible. But what NNAS really does is it would evaluate your nursing education, your nursing license, your work history or employment history, and a few more things. Create an advisory report, which is then sent to your provincial regulator. And your provincial regulator makes a decision if you're going to do transition to practice, if you're going to bridge, or if you're going to go ahead and challenge the NCLEX with certain caveats that they put on their decisions. And that's where a lot of people get the whole thing wrong. Things have changed, and so NNAS is no longer the only way forward. That simply means that more and more provincial regulators are becoming more accepting and modernizing their pathway and accepting WES as an alternative for some and others together. I'll explain. Let's take the province of Alberta for example. The province of Alberta will accept your NNAS if you have it, but if you also have a WES that you have used for immigration, they can take that in terms of evaluating your education. The province of Ontario is doing something similar as well. But that does not mean that NNAS has become obsolete, because some provinces still strictly rely on it to give them an advisory report, meaning some provinces still do not accept WES. And this is why, if you remember what I said in the beginning, your province is important, because you do not want to pay for NNAS and you are going to a province like Alberta or Ontario and you already had your WES that you had used for immigration and you're paying another amount of money. But let's circle back to the West cost by cost evaluation. If you choose to use the NNAS expedited service, I beg your pardon, then the West cost by cost comes into consideration. Let me explain. If you choose the NNAS expedited service, what has happened here is that NNAS will still require you to get a cost by cost assessment that is from a verified or approved body like WES. And so in this particular service, you're not choosing between WES or NNAS. They work together. Your verified transcript is received by WES, or WES prepares your verified transcript and then sends it to NNAS to speed up your file. And that is why we're going to circle back again to the importance of this video. Remember that I had said that it's important that you learn how not to pay for the wrong assessment. It all boils down to this. Why? Because if you drop the gun and go and pay for a service that you do not require in a certain province, you would have spent hundreds of dollars for the wrong assessment. Similarly, if you go ahead and just do only WES for a province that requires NNAS or heavily still relies on only NNAS for an advisory report, you also would have spent so much money achieving nothing. So I hope that this has cleared some of the confusion. If you have questions, put it down in the comments below. And if you found this useful, please save it and remember to subscribe for more nursing tips and how to thrive better in Canada. Thank you guys. See you in my next one.